Joining me now, Euro Pacific Capital Chief Economist Peter Schiff. And Peter, I know you take a certain amount of joy out of that intro we just had from Susan. Without laying it on too thick, because I don't have a counter to go with you on the crypto stuff. What do you make, though, of what's happening in that market?
Well, it's long overdue. This was a massive bubble, and now the air is coming out, but there's still a lot of air left in there. You know, you still have almost $1 trillion of market cap left and almost 20,000 intrinsically worthless cryptocurrencies. So we've lost $2 trillion, $1 trillion left to go to zero out.
But do you equate a Luna, a Celsius to Bitcoin? I mean, I think they're distinctly different. You put them all, you lump them all in the same.
The main difference is the name. That's it. I mean, sure, you have a bigger network behind
the
Bitcoin.
Technology behind it, the infrastructure behind it.
Yeah, but intrinsically, it's the same thing. I mean, what they really are is collectible tokens. They're not really assets. They're not commodities. People collect Bitcoin, and I don't think those collections are going to have any value.
What makes something a commodity?
Well, you could use it for something. I mean, oil, you could, drive your car. Wheat, you can eat it. Gold, you can make jewelry out of it, conduct electricity. You can't do anything with Bitcoin except hold on to it.
But the argument, though, store value, future currency, it's that it's money, that it's actually money. Because anything is money if the person, the folks who are involved in the exchange of it believe it's worth something, then it's worth something.
No, I mean, people can believe it's worth something. It can have a price, but it's not money. It's not a commodity. It has no intrinsic value, so it can't be a store of value if it doesn't have any underlying value to store.
Well, neither does that paper in my pocket, other than supposedly the trust in the government. And you don't trust the government, right?
No, well, that's fiat, but I don't trust.
So this is where you and the crypto folks do see eye and eye. There's a disbelief in fiat currency and big governments and the direction of the world. You've been on this for a long time. I just want to read something you wrote, because obviously you've been critical of the Federal Reserve. And this was an interesting tweet. You said, people are worried that to bring down inflation, the Fed will raise interest rates too much and bring down the economy too. What they should be worried about is that rate hikes will not be enough to bring down inflation, but that they will be enough to bring down the economy. I thought that was pretty intriguing. How would that play out? Would that be just hikes that are too small or too big? How would that play out?
Well, the Fed has already gotten so far behind the inflation curve. We're talking about 8.6% CPI, which understates inflation. It's actually much more than that. So in order to bring that under control, you need real interest rates to be positive. So the Fed needs to get in front of 8.5. We're talking about going to 2 or 3%. That's too little, too late to do anything. But we have such a highly levered economy that I think the Fed has already created a recession. The danger is we get a depression. And I think soon the Fed is going to have to admit that it overestimated the strength of the economy the same way it underestimated inflation, and they're going to switch their focus to stimulating the economy, even though the inflation problem gets worse.
But then that makes the circle go round and round. I mean, we're back on the merry-go-round. I mean, at some point it gets too... We've always said, hey, at some point there's going to be too much federal debt, but no one knows where that cliff is, right? And I think if you told someone 20 years ago where we are now, 10 years ago, they'd be shocked. Where does it all end?
Well, it ends in disaster. I mean, we're here. The Fed has been creating inflation as a policy for 12 years. They called it quantitative easing, 0% interest rates. We've been papering over these problems beneath inflation. And, if an economy that lives by inflation dies by inflation. And now I think what's been keeping this economy alive is what's killing it. We're going to have death by inflation. If you think it's bad now, wait till you see how much worse it's going to be.
All right. I wish we had more time. I know you came a long way. I see your tan and everything. And, of course, we could talk crypto all day, but maybe soon. Okay, Peter?
Sure thing.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.